Step into the shadows with 10 terrifying hidden horror gems you can stream right now. From pulse-pounding scares to twisted tales of terror, these chilling pics will crawl into your mind and stay there. Let's dive right in. Number 10, The Possession of Michael King.
Serious help, all right?
Because if you do, he will know you're listening. And
Michael King is a grieving widower and a firm non-believer convinced there's no such thing as God, the devil, or anything beyond the physical world. In an effort to prove it, he turns himself into a human experiment, inviting every form of supernatural ritual he can find into his life. From necromancy to demonic summoning, Michael documents each step with the cold precision of a skeptic until things begin to change. Something unseen attaches to him, corrupting his body, distorting his mind, and twisting his documentary into a nightmare of possession and collapse. As his sanity fractures, the camera keeps rolling, capturing a horrifying descent he can no longer control. The film is a relentless found footage horror that asks what happens when disbelief invites the very evil it denies. Number 9, Brooklyn 45.
You're not gonna drag us into the dark with you.
This madness is over, this war!
It's December 27, 1945. The war has just ended, but its shadows linger. 5 childhood friends, all military veterans, gather in a Brooklyn brownstone to support their host, Clive "Hawk" Hochstadter, who has been devastated by his wife's recent death. What begins as a reunion over cocktails morphs into something far more unnerving when Hawk insists on holding a seance to contact her spirit. As the night deepens, old wounds, wartime guilt, and moral compromises begin creeping into the room, tangling with the supernatural disturbances that start to manifest. The film is a claustrophobic period horror that blends ghost story with post-war trauma, asking how much of what haunts us is living flesh and how much is ghost. Number 8, The Dead Center.
I want to see my son right now!
When this thing gets what it wants, you won't be able to stop it.
Dr. Daniel Forrester is a compassionate hospital psychiatrist already under pressure for bending the rules when he's confronted with something no protocol can explain. A John Doe thought dead from apparent suicide mysteriously returns to life in the morgue and drifts into the psychiatric ward in a catatonic state with strange scars and spiral patterns appearing on his body. As Daniel investigates the John Doe's past, he teams up with a medical examiner and uncovers fragments of a hidden horror. Visions, whispering voices, and a darkness that seems to have followed the man back from death. With each revelation, Daniel is forced to question where life ends, trauma begins, and whether what he's facing is human or something beyond comprehension. Number 7, Moloch.
They're making me do it.
Patrick is a schoolteacher living with her young daughter and aging parents on the edge of a vast, mist-enshrouded peat bog in the northern Netherlands. Though years have passed since a violent home invasion shook her childhood, strange events begin to resurface. Unsettling artifacts unearthed by an archaeological dig, whispers from the bog at night, and bodies from different eras found bearing uncanny similarities. As the local folk legends about ancient myths, nature spirits, and sacrifice start to bleed into her daily life, Beatrice must search for answers among buried memories, family secrets, and the lore of the land. Moloch is slow, burn folk horror that weaves trauma, myth, and isolation into a haunting tapestry of dread, building towards something both inevitable and terrifying. Number 6, The Grandmother. Susanna is a successful fashion model working in Paris when she gets news that her grandmother Pilar, who raised her after her parents died, has suffered a debilitating stroke in Madrid. Duty, guilt, and love pull her back home, where she plans just a few days to sort things out. But caring for Pilar soon turns into something far worse. As Susanna settles into her grandmother's old house, strange behaviors, disturbing dreams, and unnerving visits from mysterious acquaintances begin to unsettle her. Pilar's condition seems to deepen beyond illness, and Susanna starts seeing shadows of something supernatural lurking beneath the surface of family loyalty. The film is a creeping, claustrophobic horror that explores aging, dependency, and the horrifying cost of refusing to let go. Number 5, Belzebuth. Detective Emmanuel Ritter is a man broken by grief. The brutal loss of his newborn child left him distant, haunted, unable to find peace. Years later, he's drawn into investigating a series of gruesome attacks against children. School massacres, inexplicable violence, and rituals that go beyond human cruelty. Ritter partners with Ivan Franco, an investigator versed in the paranormal, and together they trace disturbing signs to a disgraced priest named Vasilio Canetti, whose secrets and connections may hold the key to something far more sinister. Belzebuth is a heavy atmospheric supernatural mystery that weaves together demonic lore, deeply personal trauma, and a dark threat that may be beyond understanding. Number 4, Leaving DC.
Get a flashlight. Listen.
Get out of here. I can't stay here.
Mary, you can't leave now. It's the middle of the night.
Mark Klein has lived in Washington, D.C. for 2 decades, burdened by anxiety, loss, and a longing for peace. He decides to leave it all behind, moving to a remote house in the forests of West Virginia, and begins sending video updates to his support group for obsessive-compulsive disorder to deal with his loneliness. What starts as a hopeful retreat into solitude soon takes an unsettling turn. Strange sounds echo in the woods, shadows loiter off camera, and evidence emerges that Mark might not be as alone as he believed. As his isolation deepens, so do his fears, and he becomes obsessed with capturing proof of the unseen things surveilling him. The film is a found footage horror that trades cheap scares for growing dread, exploring what happens when running away from your past only leads you into another kind of terror. Number 3, Maniac.
You're so beautiful. You hear that?
Frank Zito is a deeply troubled man who runs a mannequin restoration shop in Los Angeles, a job that becomes chillingly entwined with his past trauma. He suffers from mental illness rooted in a painful childhood, and after his mother dies, he starts to act on impulses he can no longer contain. Women become victims in gruesome, violent acts, their scalps removed and used to decorate the mannequins Frank cares for, his warped attempt to recreate moments of comfort from his past. Into his solitary, brutal world steps Anna, a photographer drawn to his artistry, unaware of the horrors that hide in his shadows. As Frank forges a fragile connection with her, the tension mounts between his desire for human closeness and the monstrous urges he battles to suppress. Maniac is a shock slasher that punishes the senses and probes what happens when grief, obsession, and identity fracture beyond repair. Number 2, A Dark Place.
Did you do this, Jerry? Did you do it?
Donald Donnie Devlin is a garbage truck driver in a quiet, decaying former steel town. On the autism spectrum, he lives a life of routine, caring for his disabled mother, spending time with his young daughter, and trying to make sense of daily small slights in a world that often misunderstands him. When a local boy disappears and later drowns, the authorities chalk it up to accident. But Donnie suspects there's more to the story. He becomes convinced the boy's death is foul play. Despite being disregarded by police and neighbors, he launches into his own investigation, determined to uncover the truth. A Dark Place is a slow burn thriller of grief, perception, and the quiet courage of someone desperate to be heard. Number 1, Rebirth.
My daughter is not an experiment.
That's Muriel. She died 2 months ago.
She can't be left alone. Do you have a pullout?
Dr. Rose Casper is a forensic pathologist who prefers cadavers over conversations, driven by a cold obsession to undo death through science. Saley Morales, a compassionate maternity nurse, is devastated when her young daughter Lila suddenly dies. When Rose reanimates Lila through an unauthorized medical experiment, Saley is pulled into a fragile alliance where maternal instinct collides with scientific ambition. As they fight to sustain Lila's unnatural survival, the boundaries between ethics, sanity, and humanity begin to rot. The film is a chilling modern resurrection tale that peels back the skin of grief, motherhood, and the twisted extremes of playing God. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Sacrifice Game.
Murdering people because of some fairy tale you found in some book. Get out of here, you murderers! I am the vessel!
Set in 1971 at an all-girls boarding school over the Christmas holiday, 2 students, Samantha and Clara, find themselves unable to go home. Their uneasy night turns sinister when a cult of killers invades the school with dark intentions. As the cult's plan unfolds, the girls must survive in a place that should offer refuge, but instead becomes a battleground. Venus.
Chica está ahí. Bienvenida.
Go-go dancer Lucia steals a stash of drugs and flees, taking refuge with her sister and niece in an ominous apartment building. Hunted by drug dealers for her theft, she finds herself trapped in a building where malevolent supernatural forces also infest the walls. Trying to protect her family, Lucia is forced into escalating conflict with both human threats and otherworldly horrors. Exists.
It's Matt! We're at the cabin!
A group of friends head into the remote Texas woods for a weekend getaway, planning a fun retreat in nature. But after an accident, the carefree trip turns terrifying as they realize they're deep in Bigfoot's territory. The myth becomes a brutal reality as the creature stalks them, and their attempt to document everything becomes a fight for survival. Who invited them?
I'm giving you guys to the count of 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Adam and Margot, a newly married couple, throw a housewarming party to impress their colleagues in their new upscale home. After most guests leave, a mysterious couple lingering behind raise suspicions with their overly familiar manners. As the night deepens, Adam and Margot start to sense that these neighbors are hiding something far more dangerous,